I'm gonna spend 3 weeks playing against the AI in arcade mode, and I'm gonna fight bots until I get really good at fighting them, and then I'm gonna go on to ranked, and that's how I'm gonna progress. If you've thought like that at all, well, this video is for you. Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Guilty Gear, and today we're going to go through probably one of the most important things that we can talk about, and this is kind of why I want to get it out the way early before we start getting into technicalities and start building up your knowledge as a new player or a new fighting game player. I want to talk about just getting into ranked. It's such an important thing because no one else, or nothing else I suppose, bots don't play like players. They don't play like human beings. They don't act like human beings do. They don't respond like human beings. They just kind of randomly either will stop doing their offense, or they will just kind of pause and give you a big opening, or they will just kind of read all your inputs magically and be able to psychically know what you're doing ahead of time. You can't mix up an AI. You can't confuse them, and you can't surprise them, and you can't do cool things to them because it's just reading what's happening on the screen and it's reacting in an instant. And so what I want to kind of demonstrate is that you don't actually need a lot to get online. You don't need a huge amount to move from being an offline player or someone who's messing around in training mode, who's messed around with the arcade, to then go online and play it against some players. And by far the best time to get started playing fighting games would be, well, a couple of days ago when the game first came out, but the second best time is right now. Like, you want to start playing during this new player period, during the period where there's a ton of different people playing. If you have anxiety issues and stuff like that, we'll talk about that later as well. But for now, let's talk about the tools you need to go on to the internet and start playing a fighting game. So we've hit Sol. We need to figure out what we need to actually play in ranked, and we're going to need a few things. So let's run through the list of what we need. We need to know how to do his moves. We need to know his buttons. We need to know what they do and what they are and how to use them. We need to know a basic, very basic combo that does some decent damage and that is safe and reliable. We need to know an anti-air, because people are going to be jumping at us. I guarantee you, when you go online, people are going to jump at you. They're going to be doing this all the goddamn time. You'll be seeing this sort of action a lot out of people online, or you'll be seeing this. Let me move back a little bit so I get Sol's dash properly. There we go. You'll be seeing that a lot. So, we need an anti-air. We absolutely need an anti-air. And we might want to work on a big damage combo, something with a Roman cancel in it, just to, you know, really like clinch out a match. So, first things first, we're going to run through the buttons. It's worth just spending a little bit of time running through all your various little buttons, and it's even more worth time to go into training settings, opponent status, and when testing these buttons, set your opponent to all guard, counterattack settings, standing punch. Right, and the reason is, we'll walk up to him, I'll punch him and then hold block. So I know that that's safe. So if I punch him and hold block, he can't punish me with his punch. He can't punish me at all. I'm going to kick and then hold block. See that it says punish in the top right. Is that the top right? Whatever, in the top corner. You can see it, that's up there when we do this. But punish. When it says punish, the move is not safe. It means you have to cancel it into something else. It means you're going to have to basically move this move into something else in the chain to stop it from getting you punished. You can't just let this rock and let it hang out there, because if you do, you will take damage for it. It's just part of the game. There's no way you can stop him doing this. The second, let's see, so close slash. It's safe. Fast slash. It's safe. I think close slash is the one that's plus on block. I know one of his slashes is plus. I don't actually know which one it is. I should know that. Heavy slash. Punish. Spaces us out quite nicely. Let's get back into the middle of the screen. So it is kind of hard for him to punish just due to spacing, but it's punishable. So it's not safe. So we need to make sure that we cancel this into something as well. Right? Dust. Don't worry too much about the neutral dust attack. It has its uses. Don't worry too much about that. 2D, however, is more important, so we'll try 2D. Block. Sweep. Okay. Air moves. Let's see what we've got in the air. We've got jump P. Nice little stubby hit. We have jump slash. Big old hit. Look at how much space this controls. Oh! Dirty. And jump heavy. This is Sol's like, hey, I'm coming in. I'm going to land on you, even a bit of lag there, just to show how in your face that move is. And jump dust. Iconic literally has a wiki named after it. This is what the dust loop is named after. Is this move. Pops people around. Good air-to-air hit is what I would say. Right. So we've taken a look at his moves. We also have crouching punch, crouching kick, safe, crouching slash, safe, crouching heavy, punishable. You can even see from how it looks that it looks like a launcher, so it's going to pop people into the air. Let's take a look at his specials, and it's always worth taking a look, especially if you pick your character. You want to look at this after you played around with the normals a little bit, look at the command normals, see what's up. We have punch, slash, heavy slash, and then gun flame, volcanic viper, bandit revolver, bandit bringer, wild throw, night ray vortex, and Fafnir. Sol has a lot of moves. I would say you don't necessarily really need to know much about Fafnir. Systems, yeah, okay. I was wondering if it had like a little combo system thing in as well. They are implementing a system eventually, I believe, that will let you literally just download combos off the net and then practice them, which is kind of cool. Overdrives, you really don't need to know about these just yet. Like, when you're learning, they're not super important. You can practice them. If you can get them reliably, then you can start implementing them in your gameplay. Avoid the temptation to try and rely on these too much. This is very useful if you're kind of desperate and you want to just try and blow out of pressure or something, and you think there's a gap. You might be able to use this to just do a ton of damage. But that's a bad habit to get into if you start doing it a lot, because it is predictable. First thing we're going to need is, you need to get comfortable doing these quarter circle inputs. There's no way around it. Right? You need to be able to do all of these moves on demand. They might not be always reliable, they might not be forever, like you might not get them every single time you want to do them, especially with the DPs, but you should be able to do them. When I say DP, by the way, it's referring to Dragon Punch. It's just, this style of move, the Invincible Reversal Uppercut. It's a Dragon Punch from, Shoryuken. It's all that. It's all that good stuff. Mentioned this before, but a good way to get the Shoryuken, just hold forward and then do the quarter circle. It will get you a Shoryuken every single time. And you can literally see it in the bottom left if you see the stick over that way. If you watch my input on that, it's just doing that quarter circle, right? Forward, quarter circle. You can see it on the top left as well. If you're ever curious about my inputs, that's what they look like. They're a little bit messy, but they get the job done. So that was step one. We've looked at our normals, our specials, our command normals. Actually, I haven't talked through the command normals. 6S is really good, punishable, but look at the distance it covers. As long as you're doing it from, as long as you're spacing it correctly, you should be safe. Forward heavy, not a super useful move, but good range. The big thing about 6S, which is forward slash, is you can cancel it into Gunflame, you can cancel it into Bandit Revolver, you can also cancel it into Wild Throw on accident every single time, like that. If this is happening, you just need to wait a fraction of a second longer. Best thing to do is just to make sure after you've done the 6S, let go of forward as quickly as possible. Once the 6S is out, release that forward and you should get this pretty much every time. If you hold forward, that's when you're going to start getting Wild Throws. So just make sure you let go forward after you've done the 6S. Kind of try and tap forward and slash at the same time. Right? Let's build a bread and butter combo, right? Let's say that we've gone through all our moves, we've taken a look at these, we've played around with these a little bit, we feel like we can get these. Let's build a bread and butter combo. If you want to go onto the internet and find combos, you absolutely can. There's tons and tons and tons of them. I recommend make sure you look for a combo that is easy and reliable. And there's a couple of reasons why I say easy and reliable. The first reason I say easy and reliable is because when you are playing against another player, the game will suddenly feel like it's 3 billion times faster. You have another player staring you down, doing things, and you're trying to watch them while also landing your combo, and you'll run up and you'll land a hit and you'll go, and your brain will go blank. And you just need to have something easy to convert that into some damage. So if you run forward and you land this, for example, you need a way to convert that into some actual damage. So from what I vaguely know with Sol, we can do that, for example. Close slash 6S into that. Into Gunflame. I'm cancelling Gunflame too early. There we go. And the cool thing is we can go and check. Remember, this is important to do. We can always check opponent settings, all guard, counterattack settings, set him to punch. And you don't even have to check the entire combo, but it is, why not check the entire combo? I'm doing the wrong input, but, right? So it's a frame. So this actually tells us it's a frame trap. So if someone's mashing punch out of your pressure and trying to mash a button after the 6S, they will get caught by the Gunflame. Or not. Looks like you have to delay slight. Oh no. So if you cancel tight enough, it's safe. If not, there is a gap. Okay, so because there is a gap, let's do Bandit. That's punishable if we're too close, though. Can you do this into 6S? Can you do this into 2S? No. Can you do this into this? Yeah, you can. This is pressure you'll see souls do a lot. So if you ever root into this, into Heavy Slash, you can just go for the Gunflame instead. Now, honestly, Close Slash, Heavy Slash, Gunflame. I don't think will work very well on hit. But you can always just try and do this on block as well. But we want to keep it as simple as possible. If you want to get a little bit more advanced, going slash 2S into 5H is definitely better. Just because it gives you a long time to confirm. Can we do 2S into 6S? No. Keeping it simple. We can even just do slash slash. Like, honestly, there is nothing wrong with slash slash Gunflame. It sounds weird to say because it feels so basic. It feels so simple and like, surely we can do more, and you can do more. But the key here is not to be efficient. It's to set ourselves up into a position where we can start learning. And we can start playing against people. Because once you start playing against people, and the more you play against people, the more confident you'll get, and the more comfortable you'll get. And you might start feeling, man, when I hit someone, I just don't do enough damage. So if you run in, okay, that doesn't actually convert. Can I convert this into anything? That's not a good idea. And all we're really looking for is about 100 damage each time we hit. 100, 120 damage each time we hit with Soul. So even with just using this close slash, like that would actually resolve safely on anything. We don't get a follow-up on the heavy. Not without a Roman cancel, but that still works. And it's mostly just about knowing what cancels into what and from where. So this definitely seems to be like the best bread and butter, right? Because what we can always do, if we want to get more fancy, is you can start looking into doing a Roman cancel out of it. So let's set him to block. So I think a good bread and butter starting point will probably just be something like right? The only thing that's even remotely tricky about this that you're going to need to control is make sure you just tap forward for that 6S. If you hold forward for the 6S, you'll get this. If you see that they're blocking it, you can always cancel this into Gunflame, and that should space you out enough to be safe, especially if you're doing it from a good range. If you're having trouble cancelling the 6S, by the way, you're probably pressing it too early. The cancel window in this game is stricter than some games, is what I would say. You have to be like making contact with the enemy before you can cancel. Get comfortable just doing this, or get comfortable just doing this. Try it on block as well. Make sure you check with the block. You can punish us with punch. Luckily, people don't really get anything off punch. A better thing to check as well, if you are unsure, if you like a combo and you think, man, he can punish it with punch, what else can he punish it with? The real juice, only like if he hits you with punch, it's not the end of the world, trust me. Punch is just like, hey, we'll set us back to neutral. The real juice is with something like kick, so let's test with kick. So that's going to count it. So that also punishes. Worth knowing. So what this means is we need to learn how to confirm. Man, Soul's advanced. Who knew? So what this means is if you see that they're blocking, you need to go into the Gunflame instead. And that should just bounce you both out safely. And that's only if they're really mashing as well will this actually work. So they have to be mashing real fast to get out of this with kick. And if they are mashing a lot, hey, look, we have an option. That's cool. But the important thing to emphasize here is that we don't need to be... You don't need to be fancy, you don't need to be incredibly, like, you don't need a super sick combo that does 1 billion damage and converts into counter hit and does all this kind of stuff. You don't need that. You don't need to be incredibly proficient at that. You just need something simple, because I guarantee you, the moment you get online, you're going to feel overwhelmed. You're going to feel like there's so much going on and so many things happening, you're just going to mash and you're just going to press buttons and you'll panic a little bit and you'll hit someone and you won't know what to do and you'll drop those big fancy combos. Work your way up, build your way up, and then when you start being able to see, oh man, I can do more of that, that's when you start implementing that little bit more and that little bit more, and you basically, it's like tuning something up. You have a little basic structure and you're like trying to get an engine running and you built an engine. If the pistons go up and down and it moves things, it's a good engine. But you can always fine-tune this little bit here, you can tweak this little bit here, and you can make it run a bit more efficiently there, and all these little things, but you just need to get it working, and we're on that stage right now. We're just trying to get this stuff working. The other big thing we're going to need is anti-air, and there's a reason why I'm doing this. This is for Soul only. Soul's 5k is incredibly good as an anti-air. It starts incredibly quickly, hits very high up. It's good for swatting people out the air. Let's talk about the universal anti-air though. This is much more useful. This is 6p or this is forward punch. It's a good button. Get used to this button. I'm going to set the bot up to do a very standard jump in for Kai. And he's just going to jump at me and we're going to try and anti-air him. Right, so there he is. If you don't know how to do that, there's a video on it on the channel. You can learn how to set bots up. But honestly, because I'm about to show, like, it's worth watching that video to know how to do that, because this will save you a lot of grief in the long run. Right, so I'm going to set him to play, and hey look, 6p. We can even, like, wait a little bit later, so if I stand at the right distance. He started his attack, but we still hit him out of it. The reason why is 6p is what's called upper body invincible. I'll try and pick out, like, a frame where it looks like he's hitting us, but we're actually hitting him out of it. We can also, this is where 5k is super good for Salt. Because if we see him, we can just swat him out the air, and we can even wait quite late. Right? If I do this, we can actually punish him a little bit more off it. Let's try with 6p. Oh, clashed, but that's fine. Bounces back out. Hey look, we can gunflame off that as well. It's important to know your anti-airs, because what you'll see a lot from low-level players is, especially you'll see this maneuver, jump back, dash forward. Don't do that. Don't do that. It's all it does is it gives the opponent, it feels like you're being smart. There's just something in the human brain that just goes, hey, I shall fake him out by jumping backwards and then dashing at him. Right? But what you're doing effectively is you're increasing the distance between you and your opponent so he has more time to react. He's seeing you jump, so the amount of options you have is limited once you've jumped. If you jump back and then dash forward, he can see you dash forward for longer. If you jump forward and dash forward, he has less time. So if you are in a situation where you jump back and you want to dash forward, or you see yourself doing this, just think, well, if I'm going to do that anyway, I might as well just jump forward instead. Right? I might as well just jump forward and see where that gets me. Because if you jump back and dash forward, it's so much easier to react. It will get you killed, you will do it, you will die doing it. I've done it, everyone's done it. For some reason, this just exists in the human brain as a good idea. It isn't. Don't do it. The other thing I would say to know for Soul, and this is more of a generalist thing, but it's just to get a general framework of your character's game plan. With Soul, he's what's referred to as a strike-throw character, which basically means that he mixes you up, or the way he cracks people open, if they're just blocking all the time, the way he opens up people is by doing this, or by doing this. Right? He throws people if they block. Otherwise, he's just going to try and pressure you with his good normals and his good buttons, and just try and sort of squeeze pressure out. He just wants to bully people. He just wants to sort of hit them with good buttons and just try and make them slip up and get some damage in, and get a lot of damage in as a result. Generally, it's a good idea to get to know what moves are fast and what moves are slow. So Soul has a very fast button in his 5k, very fast button in 5p. So if you're ever unsure and don't know what to do, you can do those. You can also do the reversals. Again, I've talked about this tip before. Hold forward, quarter circle input. The final secret tech I want to give you when you're playing online, and this one's tough to train with, is to learn to just block sometimes. You will feel very overwhelmed, and the hard part will be knowing where the gap is. And this is something that I can't really teach you without seeing the gameplay footage. I cannot tell you where the gap is. Right? I cannot show you, hey, there's a gap here, just you can mash out of that. At least not without, being over your shoulder at the time. What I will say is a lot of moves will be negative on... a lot of specials are negative on block. There are a ton of exceptions to that rule, though. And this is kind of how fighting games work in general, is like, there's general rules, and then there's a ton of exceptions to them. And that's basically how you build a character, is you have very vanilla rules of light buttons or punch and kick are generally fast. Heavier buttons are a little bit slower, but might be punishable. But Soul has an exception, for example. His kick is faster than his punch, I believe, and it's punishable because it's so fast. So because this move is so good, it's punishable, right? And it's these little exceptions that make fighting game characters what they are. And so I'm going to finish this video up on some theory. I might put some of my gameplay up here while I just talk to you guys, because what's so important is to understand that losing is a part of learning. Losing is a part of developing and playing the game, and the only way you will actually get to start playing fighting games is by just playing them. Everybody loses, everybody gets frustrated, and when you're new, you're going to get frustrated because you just don't know certain things or how certain things work. The important thing is to take a moment, take a breather, go and watch the replay if you really want to give yourself a break. If you find yourself getting really frustrated, you can go and watch the replay and go and see kind of what was going on and maybe try and piece together exactly what was happening. Maybe what you were doing was unsafe, maybe you're mistiming something, maybe you're missing a gap in their offense, something like that. Or maybe you're seeing yourself and you'll watch yourself and you're going, man, I played that perfectly. What was I doing wrong? And then you'll realize that you're doing this all game and you were just getting anti-aired over and over again. What's important is to take the wins where you get them. If you practice a combo, I don't care what combo it is, but if you practice it and you implement it in a fight, give yourself that win. Give yourself that win! Because it is difficult and it is a tough thing to do and an important thing to do, to go and learn something in training mode and then to implement it into gameplay, which is a stressful situation. When you go and learn something, you implement it and you get it working. And let's say that you're practicing this combo that I showed you, right? You're practicing this thing, and what you want is this, but you keep getting this, right? Every single time you do it. Oh god, I keep getting the wild throw every single time. Oh no, I'm getting the wild throw every single time. And then you go into a game and you get the wild throw, and you get the wild throw again and again and again. And then you go into a game and you start getting this. Every single time, right? Take the W. I don't care if you won or lost. I don't. It doesn't matter. You've learned something. You've improved at something. Because you're not looking, and this is the mentality I have with Overwatch as well, you're not looking to win the game right now necessarily. You're looking to win the game ahead. You're looking to win the next game, and the next game, and the next game, and the next game. And you're doing things to try and push yourself to win those games afterwards. You're trying to push yourself to win the game after that, and the game after that. And the more you do that, the better you'll get, and you'll accelerate, and you'll start going way beyond people who are playing at your level. It's the journey, and it's an important part of playing fighting games. It's what you want out of fighting games. And it's why I fell in love with them. We'll probably do a whole short video on ranked anxiety, I think, and talk about that at another point as well in depth, and talk about some of the causes of it and some of the ways to mollify it and deal with it. The way I dealt with it is by streaming my ranked footage into an audience of over 100 people when playing Overwatch, and that kind of forced me to play Overwatch online. Woo! Don't recommend it. Thanks for watching to the end. If you have other tips for new players or people just jumping into ranked, please post them in the comments below. I like the comments when they're supportive and they're helpful, and when I did Overwatch content, people were really good about doing that and posting lots of helpful things below the video. So if you have helpful ideas or you think there's something I missed, post it in the comments, let people know, give people advice, help people out. And if people have questions, I'll try and answer some. Other people will try and answer some as well. I'll keep my eye on my notifications and try and answer any questions that pop up. Otherwise, thank you for watching to the end. I have been Josh, as one voice amongst many. I'm sure there's more optimal Soul combos out there. You can find them online. You can find them by just experimenting around. The experimentation is fun as well. Put on some YouTube, do it, and yeah, it's all good. If you learn anything, drop a like. If you didn't learn anything, drop a like. It helps out. Bing! Thank you for watching to the end. Otherwise, I'll see you next time. Toodaloo.